The high-stakes diplomacy playing out between Washington, Kyiv, and Moscow this past week has laid bare both the horror of Russia's escalating attacks on Ukraine and the increasingly fragile diplomatic theatre in which President Donald Trump, President Zelensky, and Vladimir Putin maneuver. What emerges is a picture of a Russian president looking increasingly isolated, belligerent, and determined to subdue Ukraine at all costs, even as Western unity faces fresh tests. On July the 3rd, Trump held yet another direct phone call with Vladimir Putin. I don't know how he does this in the fridge. The sixth such publicly confirmed conversation since Trump's return to the White House. The Kremlin described the call as frank and constructive, insisting the two were on the same wavelength. Yet Trump himself admitted afterwards that he was very disappointed. I don't think he's there. I don't think he's looking to stop this fighting, he told reporters. And this disconnect was stark. Russia followed that call with the single largest aerial assault of the war so far, launching over 500 drones and missiles at Ukrainian cities, including Kyiv, killing civilians and gutting infrastructure. If Putin truly wanted peace, he has a strange way of showing it. He's not brokering compromise, he's demonstrating brutal intransigence. A day later, today, Independence Day, July the 4th, Trump spoke with President Zelensky. And this call was described by Kyiv as very important and meaningful. And they discussed Ukraine's urgent need for air defenses, systems whose deliveries Washington had paused, citing worries about America's own stockpiles. And Trump's position is contradictory. Publicly, he complained that Biden emptied out our whole country, giving them weapons. Yet in the call with Zelensky, he acknowledged the reality of Russia's relentless strikes and agreed to work on increasing airspace protection. This tells us two things. First, despite his transactional rhetoric, Trump recognizes the threat Russia poses to Ukraine and Europe. Second, he's politically torn between an isolationist impulse at home and strategic commitments abroad. Meanwhile, Moscow escalates. The record-breaking drone and missile barrage devastated Kyiv. Schools, hospitals, apartment blocks, no target was spared. And Russia is also apparently using chemical weapons with growing frequency, confirmed by Dutch and German intelligence services. Gas, a relic of World War I, is being deployed to flush Ukrainian soldiers from trenches so they can be slaughtered. This is something I remember discussing with Caelan Robertson nearly a year ago. This is not a new thing, but it's intensifying, and it's hard to overstate the criminality of this approach. Chemical warfare is banned under international law, yet Putin is betting the world's outrage will fade or remain impotent. And it's precisely this brazen savagery that is isolating Russia further. Poland's foreign minister bluntly told Trump on social media, Putin is mocking your peace efforts. And at the same time, Putin is bombing embassies. Even neutral nations are watching Russia's atrocities with growing unease, and all this has reinvigorated the debate over Western weapons supplies. Germany is now negotiating to buy Patriot missile systems in the United States to pass on to Ukraine, an effort to close the gap left by Washington's pause. NATO's new Secretary-General Mark Rutte has also hinted at restoring deliveries. Denmark signed a new deal this week to host Ukrainian arms production on its own soil. And meanwhile, Ukraine continues to hit back, striking Russian military factories deep inside enemy territory. And the rumor is that within two or 3 months it will have its own supply of homemade defense weapons. This is the broader context of the Trump-Zelensky conversation, a recognition that without robust, sustained Western support, Ukraine risks losing vital ground just at the moment when it's beginning to turn the corner and to take the war into the heartland of Russia, to let Russia know that this isn't something out of its back door. This is something that can strike home, that Russia is not safe under Putin. It's a message that Russia needs to hear. A recognition that without sustained, robust support, Ukraine risks now losing vital ground just as Russia steps up its terror campaign. We see a war that is intensifying, not winding down. And Putin speaks of diplomacy but wages total war on civilians. He offers negotiations but refuses to abandon his goals of subjugating Ukraine. And Trump, for all his brash talk of deals, found no progress with Putin and now faces pressure to resume arms supplies to Kyiv. What is clear is that Russia's strategy of escalation and atrocity is breeding not submission but resistance. And as the West debates how best to support Ukraine, the moral and strategic imperative remains obvious. Failure to stop Putin's terror will cost not just Ukrainian lives, but the credibility of the international order itself.